I've never seen it.
That's the official beginning.
Love it.
Every day there's like a moment where I forget the election happened, and then something like reminds me, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah. I've gone through a big muting in all my social media down to.
I don't even think
Even people I like, people I have no problem with. I'm just like, I just need to turn this off.
I've been muting since Instagram started. I love it. It's my favorite thing to do.
I don't even unfollow because it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter
because they'll never know.
Yeah.
I know family members.
You know who muted you?
No.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes I like to.
Can you? No. Find
No.
out.
The only way you can
I've
tell is if you somehow logged every person who saw your story. And
That's
then was
exhausting.
like, "Hey, we're friends," and you
How am
haven't
I
seen
gonna
a
write
story
down-
of mine,
yeah.
right? You'd have to be so
I'd
neurotic.
have to write down 8 names.
The problem then becomes the method, right? Like even
Yeah.
like if you and I were good buddies, and you're like, "Well, for 6 months you haven't looked at a story."
Yeah, that's
I'd
a
be like,
mutable offense to
I'd
go through and write that all
right.
down.
I'd be like, "Well, our new issue is that you did that."
Yeah. Our new problem is that you wrote all these names down for 6 months.
Can you imagine?
I only, I don't do anything really on Instagram anymore if I don't have a show coming up. I don't do anything on TikTok. It's getting banned on the 19th anyways. I think it is, right? That's still going through?
I have no idea.
And I am on, I got on Threads just to pretend to be the CEO of Threads.
That's fun.
Because everyone just sees your stuff randomly. And I'll post, hey, I'm in charge of the algorithm at Threads. Thanks for your feedback. We're going to start implementing unskippable ads like you guys requested. And then I said something. I was like,
you love to instigate. You love to like stir the pot.
But then I never reply to any replies.
I know.
I just like in that one I was like, we're doing unskippable ads. My pee has been read for 6 weeks. I hope you guys like the ads, and I won't reply to anything about the pee or anything about any of it. Just move on. But
I love that.
people will just be so mad. And
so
then, like,
are you on a social media that you
just
enjoy?
Threads from 3 to 5 a.m. doing that and
What
replying
is
to
Threads?
people who are like, what's a good
Twitter
food?
for Instagram.
Yeah.
You're on it.
I
yeah.
know they keep saying
Yeah,
like
yeah.
go, and I'm
Yeah,
like, fuck you, don't
Facebook
tell me
made-
what
No,
to
you already
do.
went. It's already there.
Yeah. You Venmo'd me on there. That was you, right?
Yeah.
That one I do.
You did Blue Sky?
I have it, and I
Yeah.
tweeted. This
we have a
is-
responsibility as comics. Not a
What the
responsibility.
fuck is Blue
We have
Sky?
a pressure as comics to, as soon as there's a thing, go get your name on it.
I got my
because
name
you
on
never
it,
know
and
if
I
it's
tweeted, this is really doing numbers. I mean, this is the problem with all of them is I'll say I tweeted from Blue Sky.
Right.
And Twitter's not even a company.
Right.
I'm using like a fake... I'm
Verb.
like... Fake, yeah, exactly. A fake verb for a non-named company in a similar likeness to another thing I don't know about. Too many things.
I
Yeah,
think
I was on Vine back in the day when that came out.
Love Vine.
Oh yeah, I bet you crushed.
I fucking loved Vine, and then I was like, I can't do this anymore. Hipster Max before Instagram.
Somebody told me once, Instagram is people you know doing things you don't care about seeing, and TikTok is people you don't know doing things you do care about seeing. So like TikTok, I mainly just watch, and I find it endlessly entertaining.
Yeah.
There are people who have never, like, categorically done a day of comedy in their life that are funnier than anyone we've ever known.
I think...
Like, you'll read
yeah.
a comment sometimes, and you're like, man, this person was probably like works in like the shit shoveling industry,
Yeah.
and what they wrote here, I'm crying.
It's
laughing.
funnier than contextually anything I'll ever do.
Yes.
I do think that... I think the funniest person anyone knows is someone who's never done comedy.
Probably.
Like, there's my friend Brian Sturgill is the funniest person I've
Yes.
ever known in my whole entire life. And anyone who knows him would say the same thing. And he's done some comedy, but now is just kind of a guy somewhere. Being the funniest person any of the people in his life will ever meet in any capacity.
When I first started out, though, and I always lean on this, when I was first starting out in comedy, I listened to You Made It Weird a lot. And I remember Pete one time.
We'll bleep that out. We don't put anywhere.
No free ads. I remember one time Pete was talking to somebody after a show, and the guy was like, my friends all say I should do comedy. I'm like the funniest person they've ever known. And Pete said, I bet you are. Like, I bet on a road trip you have 4 jokes that would like decimate anything I've ever written. The thing is, though, can you be funny tomorrow at 8:00 for an hour? And
No,
that's
yeah,
like
for
the
sure.
like. So they're like, yes, we have all those people that are like super funny.
Yeah.
But being able to metaphorically bottle it
Yeah.
is the difference.
It's so much harder to be. Can you be as funny as you are to your friends, or even 80% of that, to 70 strangers most nights,
Who got an Uber and
Yeah.
left work early
and are paying for a babysitter?
and have to get 2 drinks.
Yeah.
And they're like, dance.
Well, here's the question: how many people do you know who
Dozens.
don't know that you great that don't know that you do comedy are surprised that you do comedy, because that happens to me a lot where people are like, you're a comedian, and I'm always like, yeah.
Well, now I'm going to sound like a douche.
Go for it.
None.
Actually,
I take that back.
You don't know anyone. Oh, well, okay.
When I would bartend, like have any other job, people would always be surprised I did comedy.
Yeah, like just if you met a stranger and you're like chit-chatting, like a friend will eventually.
Yeah.
Or like when I was a door guy and I was like, well, I'm not, no one really wants me to be funny here.
I'm not really trying to be too funny or anything around people I don't know. I'm usually pretty quiet.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't want to talk to them. So if someone meets me a few times, I open up, and then I think they're like, that guy could do comedy. Kind of is funny, and it makes a little bit of sense. But at first, I want to be. I'm usually like, have I been at wherever I am at long enough to justify leaving?
I think anyone with an intellectual trade, so like a lawyer, a doctor, a comedian, is hesitant to tell the average person what they do.
Yeah, I mentioned
because you are immediately going to be asked to display that in some form.
The less you want to do it for free to people,
horrible.
yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, the more people want to extract what you do for free at them, probably the more you want to hide it.
Yes.
But if you're like, I'm a geologist, people are probably like, okay, they're not gonna like go get a rock.
You
from
might
their yard.
get
I mean, maybe they will. My dad would do that now that I say
at most you're gonna get. What's that like? You're like, oh, it's good. I like it. I'm outside a lot.
Yeah.
I work with people.
In my office, most people say I know the most about rocks.
Yeah.
Everyone in my office says I'm closest to being a rock.
You're a geologist? I've never heard of you.
Name 8 rocks. Oh, you like rocks?
What geologist influenced what the type of geology work you do?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
That's actually a thing that I love on TikTok is people who use rock tumblers.
What's that?
You know, rock tumbler, you put a rock in it and then it sits in there for a week with like grit and it becomes
Oh,
polished.
yes.
They make like those polished rocks and stones.
Yes.
wow.
I used to have one, and I don't know, my dad got it for me like Christmas or something. And it's one of those gifts where you would usually gift it to some child who doesn't live with you because it has to run 24/7 for a week full of rocks and grit.
Yeah.
But my dad got it and just sat on our back porch by the washing machine. And my mom's just like, fucking fuck. You know, it runs for 24 hours for a week. So you can go find out you put the wrong grit in it. And nothing. But you just put in crappy rocks and they come out polished and shiny.
Well, to go back to social media, like that methodology, if I'm using this correctly, methodology like content of like, I'm gonna mow this lawn, I'm gonna vacuum this carpet, I'm gonna clean this rug, like squeegee this rug out, or like I'm gonna polish this stone is so soothing to me.
Oh my god,
the
I
rug
fucking
squeegee
love it.
people
I
really
love it.
I don't think I've talked about this publicly. I am deep into Facebook Marketplace trying to find a pressure washer, and I'm just going to pressure wash the parking space, like parking area of where I live, and then I'm considering just going around LA
Just pressure washing.
and pressure washing.
See, I want a battery powered pressure washer.
I know, but you don't get enough.
I know, but I've looked to see if there could be some.
Like
There probably is,
Ryobi
actually.
has one.
No,
They feel like they'd make
No,
one.
they definitely
do. Of course they do.
You want a Milwaukee gasoline
Yeah, but a Milwaukee
powered.
one, you're starting it up, and the Ryobi one's probably like, hey.
It lasts for like 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh.
You could turn it on high for 42 seconds.
It's like a Dyson.
Yeah. Oh, I love my Dyson vacuum so much.
So me too.
Oh, me
It's
too.
a-
Wait, do we all have Dysons? Oh man,
Oh,
what
yeah.
a fucking dream.
I got an open box Best Buy scratch and dent Dyson 80% off one time.
That's phenomenal.
And they were like, well, the label is scratched. And I'm like, oh, you can't tell it. The word Dyson is scratched?
Right.
That will not affect
You mean the thing I'm going to do to it in a year anyway?
Right. I'll drop this on the way to my car.
Dyson, there are brands that are like, yeah, that's just better than everything else.
It
like
is.
Dyson,
When
Bose.
did Dyson become
Yeah.
Dyson?
And I'm sure there's something way elevated, but Bose is just, it's like everything you know, and then there's 100 yards of open space, and then Bose. And I'm sure some speakerhead's going to be like, actually above Bose. I don't care. I'm just saying it's like Bose.
Right. For
there's
what I could
Dyson.
go get at the store without knowing of names I
Like
know.
I found the air fryer of these type of levels, and it's $400. It completely self cleans and like does everything. And I'm like,
I don't buy that.
I know, but I hate cleaning stuff like that. It's so hard over
Yeah.
time to like really clean that stuff.
You got to clean it right after you use it.
Every time,
It is
I know.
really fucking hot.
This just
but
does
it's
it
so
itself.
easy to clean.
I don't air fry.
No?
Nah.
Oh, get on the game.
Everyone's air frying. I was like, I'm not air frying.
You got to
It's
try
so
hot
much
food.
fun.
Have you had hot food?
Yeah,
You got to get into this stuff.
I just a microwave. It's 2 minutes. I don't want to wait the
You don't get the same though. A lot of you're like if you're redoing some chicken.
I love reheating, and the air fryer is like
yes.
I know people love that, but like just those 8 minutes.
This feels like almost like a fake TikTok podcast.
I know. I'm sorry. We didn't even.
Here's some products that have changed my life.
This is all branded.
I've just been. I love that fucking vacuum so much.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a long one? Do you guys have a long one?
Oh, yeah.
I don't have the long one.
It's the pet one.
I got it at Costco. I got the one for hair. It legitimately.
Oh, with like it looks like a black hole,
Dyson
right?
Airwrap?
Yeah, and it detangles your hair so it doesn't get strapped around the bottom bit anymore. So I used to have to like cut my hair out of the vacuum.
And it's just worth it.
And it was
like $1,000.
$1,000. It was $1,000 at Costco.
Yeah,
because I got the.
They did
extra
sell you
bits.
6.
Yeah.
But you're set. You're set forever.
Oh, it was the best thing. It was the best thing that we ever did.
Because it's something like that. I'm dead serious.
I've never had hot food, but my vacuum rules.
I mean, something like that. If you go, if I don't ever buy another one,
buy it once or buy 5
exactly,
$250
or even 10 over the rest of your life.
Can it hold up a bowling ball? Because that was for the longest time in my life, the vacuum threshold. Remember Oric vacuum would suck up a bowling ball and hold it up in the air.
Oh,
and you're like, well, if that's on my floor, I can see that. I'm going to probably just pick that up with my hands.
Yeah, but I never wanted the vacuums that had the bags.
Neither do I.
Like the old school, like I don't
too
have
much
time for
space.
that.
It takes up too much. My Dyson's just in
on
where
the
my
wall.
laundry stuff is behind those 2 doors, sort of tucked up in the wall right there.
There's a Twitter account called Shiny Happy Vac, and they just vacuum up glitter.
Oh
and then,
God! You gotta send me these.
My girlfriend's obsessed with the
right.
not gack. What is it called?
Yeah.
Like it's just like little goop that people scoop up all the time.
Yes.
That has different things in it. It'll be shiny. Is it called gack?
Gack is like
gack is
like
Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Nickelodeon. It's like Nickelodeon.
Yeah,
but this is like the real slime.
Okay.
And
even more common.
And it's just a bin, and they'll be like, this one's called like Starry Night, and it'll be blue with swirls in it, and she just watches them scoop it. And then they'll just scoop 8 different.
The guy mowing the lawns, though, dude.
I was like,
the guy mowing the lawns.
Oh, interesting.
I know him, and he mows them for free. I like watching people get mad when he asks to mow a lawn for free, and I'm like, man, there's just a general skepticism in the world. Like doing a nice thing, people's
What are you doing?
antennas really perk up.
So I grew up working on farms, and farm work is still the best job I ever had because it was so accomplished. Like it was so done. I mean, there was always something else the next day. But it was never like a desk where you're like, I got all this, and then and you just always, and that's an added thing for me watching the lawn mowing is just there's a part of me that like loves it, and not to sound like a douche too, but like the gym I go to sometimes we'll do a movement where you're just picking up like a 40-pound medicine ball and you put it over your shoulder and then turn around and pick it up again.
Yeah,
and even that just feels so gratifying to me.
You just wish that was husked wheat.
I mean, that was specifically the best job I ever had was baling hay. Yeah. Baling hay was, I daydream about it. Is that super weird?
It sounds like the beginning of a young adult novel.
Where's the love? I guess it doesn't always have to be love, right?
Nah, someone just died in a wheat thresher or something.
Yeah, I mean that does happen.
Those things, those are the things I recently.
Or
you guys have a Dyson wheat thresher at home?
You know what? It's worth it. It's worth it.
You're not going to buy 7-8 wheat threshers over your life. I love large farm equipment. My dad's whole family's from Iowa.
Yeah.
Grew up on farm. It's like seeing dinosaurs by like the size of it if you actually get close to farm equipment and stuff. It is so crazy, and now it is so computerized and insane.
Yeah.
It's
But remember when we were kids, were we Sesame Street kids?
Yeah. I didn't like that.
But they would do the thing where they would just show.
That's the least popular opinion that's ever been said on the podcast.
I would agree.
I wish you did that for this. Rewrite an episode of Sesame Street.
I was more of a Fraggle Rock gal.
Okay. But on Sesame Street, they would have just B-roll of like crayons being made.
Yeah.
And I think that like farming equipment does that too, where you're just watching it and now there's like nothing behind it anymore. Yeah. I mean, I've never been much of a weed guy, but I've been told that like getting high and watching how it's made on Discovery Channel was like that was the drug.
I would get really high and watch Planet Earth, but I would mute it and put on Daft Punk. Long form stuff and just be really high
crossing
watching
the streams,
like, the dolphins. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Watching the dolphins just sort of like jump through the entire thing with all the repetition, and you're just like, man, that's crazy that I also live there.
You just have Moby's God moving over the face of the water on repeat.
It was just Moby in the room, actually.
That'd be great.
It.
Talking about what Woodstock was like for him and why he's still mad. Have you seen that documentary?
No.
Oh my gosh. Woodstock 99 is insane.
I remember when it happened.
Yeah. Go watch. There's a Netflix one and an HBO one.
I love
HBO's
these. I
better.
love these deep impact Armageddons, but for documentaries that came out
Yeah,
for a
yeah,
while.
yeah, yeah,
where it was
yeah.
like competing companies covering
Totally
this.
true.
The Fire Festival had 2 documentaries
Yes.
come out.
Oh, they had 2? I only watched
Yeah,
one.
they had
You probably
2.
saw the good one.
Yeah, Hulu was a good one, I think.
I haven't seen either of them.
That guy's out doing things now.
Yeah, another festival.
Yeah.
I
that's what
assume a
thought.
bunch of
Yeah, he
comedy
was like,
festivals.
Really?
No, I don't know. Just pre-emailing people they've been rejected from comedy festivals. We should talk about the podcast
Okay.
and Annie Hall.
Yeah. A movie I've only seen once and barely remember, but I am not the
I've
person
never
who
seen it.
created content today. And I mean that in an OnlyFans sense.
I just started posting. I don't want to tell you talking about what I did with OnlyFans, but it's a weird place.
I now feel like I need to.
I
go
posted
on to
D&D
see.
minifigs as I painted them as a lot of what I was
I think
doing
that's
on there.
wonderful.
What's D&D?
Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, okay.
And I painted the little guys and posted
That
I think
feels
that's
like-
wonderful content.
Yeah, but then you post one picture of you without shirt and just people you've never met in your whole life are like, well, I gotta take a look at this and see what this is.
Not a
Yeah.
bad game
No.
plan.
There's
No.
probably a lot of
Paint
D&D
with your
guys
shirt
out
off.
there.
I'm too tired. I'm too messy, honestly. Although being messy would probably
People would love
do it
that.
for some folks.
People would love
Because
it.
I can't cook or paint without spilling stuff all over myself. I have like cooking shirts.
Oh,
That's
same.
Dude, talk slower.
I can't. I have a brain disease
No.
that twitches me.
I know. I mean sexually.
Oh,
Describe this slower for me.
what's the opposite of ASMR, where people are like so upset with it they mute it?
Yeah. That's funny.
Annie Hall,
Okay.
very famous movie. Lot of baggage being dragged in with this movie if you talk about it now. Mel, what do you want to preface about Annie Hall going into it?
I've never seen it.
Great.
And what I said to Daniel earlier is I would be in like, I wouldn't say artistic circles. I'd just hang out with friends and people would be like, I love Annie Hall. And I'd be like, and I would just be like, I fucking hate that
Isn't
movie.
it crazy how people who like stuff always sound like that?
Yeah. Well, because they're guffawing.
Yeah.
And I would just immediately be like, it's fucking stupid. And I had never seen it. And I had no interest in seeing it.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah, I was going to ask, was it a point of avoidance or
Yeah.
just a never got
it's
around
crazy
to
to
it?
ask someone why they haven't seen thing, but we got to ask.
Yeah, because
Okay.
sometimes that is
It
the
is hard.
Woody Allen's not attractive.
fair.
And I didn't really like
You heard it here first.
yeah. And I didn't
Stay
like
up on this. I don't want anybody to lose you.
I didn't I was living the life of like dating ugly guys. I didn't want to really see that. You know what I mean?
So-
Like, I didn't need to experience
Yet
that.
people wouldn't guess you did comedy.
People looked at your boyfriend and be like, when's your next UCB show?
He's in the wings.
Right. He walks up to them like the girl from The Ring.
Right. Right. Was it the open-toed Chucks that gave it away?
Oh God, nothing worse.
Or the ill-fitting hoodie with the uneven strings?
The hoodie.
Yeah.
Always the hoodie. So I just never wanted to see it. And it just didn't seem, it seemed like New York, like money, heady, like blah, 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 blah. We're
Let's
talking
stand
about
here and
nothing.
talk.
Yeah, and I was just
Yeah.
like, no interest in that.
Fair.
I don't know.
Great. Seems like you. I mean, you're bringing in everything I do know about it. I've probably seen it a couple of
Diane
times.
Keaton?
Yeah.
I know Diane Keaton and Woody Allen are in it. I don't know anything about the plot. I don't know anything.
It's funny because I watched it probably like 20 years ago, and all I remember is them standing in line talking.
Okay, so this
That is so many. Okay, let's do it,
That's why
and then we will wrap because I don't want to like.
'Cause you've
accidentally-
seen it.
I've seen this a couple of times.
Okay.
And we talked about beforehand. I saw this in college, and I really liked it. And at our college poster fair, I got an Annie Hall poster. You know, like those little posters, or whatever.
yeah,
they're.
yeah.
And I don't. It's in the closet at my parents' house, and they won't throw it away. And I'm like, you don't need that anymore. And they're like, we'll keep it in case you want it. I'm like, there's no world where I will that will ever be up anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not even because I don't like the movie as much anymore. I don't know if you guys have the news here. if you've read your encyclopedias or whatever,
It is a whole thing, right? Of like artist and art.
yeah. With him, sometimes I'm like the movies aren't that good.
Right.
I'm not like he didn't make Thriller.
Right. But we all got the news, the memo of, speaking of art and artist, about R. Kelly, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
So-
it's back
Wait,
on.
is there
It's
new
back on.
news?
You need to be listening to R. Kelly as much as you can.
Way ahead of you.
Remember the UCB show Trapped in the Closet?
Yes, but
was fun.
the reason I'm saying this is because the courts ruled that the people who make money off the royalties of R. Kelly are his victims. So everybody who was like, I can't listen to this anymore because of what he did, now needs to listen to it because the money is going to the victims, which is sort of which is its own comedy sketch.
Yeah,
of like
that's
somebody
incredible.
comes up to you at a party, is like, hey, maybe we turn remix off. They're like, can't, dude, I care about victims.
Right,
And they're like,
right.
yeah, but do you know what this guy did? I know what he did. I think more than you know.
Yeah,
like
she's here. That's why we're blaring it. It'll
and
help
she's
her.
like- and she's crying, but she's also like, thank you.
She's getting
Like,
nothing.
it
But it is
literally
Spotify
writes
royalties,
itself.
so it's almost
That
nothing.
is amazing. My first dance song with my husband was R. Kelly.
Yes,
Bump and grind.
that's great.
Okay.
And that's even better
And I
now.
didn't tell
Yeah.
people, but now
You would be
better.
contributing
You
to
were
goodness in the
progressive
world.
then on
I feel good
accident.
about it.
Because it's so funny, right? Like if you didn't know this and you're in the club and somebody, a DJ like drops on R. Kelly, you'd be like, I don't know, should we?
But
and
does
then
it
to
help?
find
her-
out,
yeah.
yes.
Does it help or hurt the mood if he's like, "Hey, everybody out there, the dance floor, this actually goes towards the victims."
He puts a disclaimer.
Yeah.
This preceding song is going to do some good in the world.
That's amazing.
And it's just like and
Yeah.
playing like the gunshot.
But he'd
sound
have to be
effect.
playing it off of a streamer for it to count. Just playing it in your car off a CD doesn't really.
So if you've already bought the CD, you're not helpful.
Right.
But these Spotify,
Oh,
I like
God.
hearing about Spotify taking, this is what we should be amplifying. Yeah, they're taking money from comedians and musicians, but
I
like
know.
the more they cut into rights, the less
I know.
victims of R. Kelly's abuse get paid.
This is the paradox.
Probably the only bad corporation.
You're right. Okay, sorry.
All right,
No,
Sorry for
I
the-
love
So-
it, please.
It's inevitable that a discussion about Annie Hall will.
art and artists. Sort of
Yeah.
stuff, yeah.
And okay, so anything else you want to preface?
Yeah, this is
No,
all you.
who's gonna be Woody?
That can be you, or you can cast it however you'd like. Daniel, you want to be Woody? I think you could do a good Woody Allen.
Do a good Woody.
There's a snake in my boots.
Yeah, I love it. I already love it. And
They actually
we-
changed his name in the movies because of this whole Woody Allen controversy.
Will you be Diane? Or-
Love to.
Okay, great. And do we need to read the directions?
Yeah.
You can do the stage
I
directions.
love that. Okay, great.
I'm already looking through this at the lack of stage directions, and this is the Woody Allen lookingest script I've ever seen in my whole life. Except the only thing I do see that would be inaccurate is he is letting the woman talk about as much as he talks.
Yeah.
I actually thought about your show a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, man, I wish I hadn't seen every Quentin Tarantino movie, because a good Quentin Tarantino script would be, if it was 3 pages, it would be almost entirely stage direction and action lines, and
Yeah.
then 2 lines.
Just 2 lines.
Yeah, if you've ever read a script, it's like a reading a book.
with even like stage direction sort of in places you don't even know how to format
Right,
a
yeah,
script
yeah.
that looks like
and then
that.
there'll
Like,
be a scene of just nothing but talking, but there is like
Yeah.
so much action.
yeah.
Okay, I'm Woody.
Yeah, you're Woody. You're Diane. Okay. Are you guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
Exterior Manhattan Street. Diane Keaton walks away from a coffee shop. Woody Allen follows.
Excuse me.
She doesn't stop because she can't hear him because he's so small. He approaches her and touches her shoulder, and she's startled.
Oh God.
No, I'm an atheist.
What?
I'm not God.
No, obviously I'm not an idiot.
I thought you'd find that funny.
I can barely hear you. Can you speak up?
You really can't hear me?
You're about 5 inches shorter than me.
That's fair.
Woody now speaks louder.
I was just trying to catch you because I wanted to ask you out on a date.
I'm moving to LA tomorrow.
Why would you move to LA? It's honestly the worst place to live in the world.
I got a job. Plus, all New Yorkers hate LA, even if they haven't seen it haven't been. It's just part of your DNA.
You have to drive everywhere, no seasons. You won't be able to meet people on the street like this.
Thank God, this isn't something I enjoy.
Tough cookie. Let's have farewell drinks tonight.
No, I have to pack.
Okay, drinks while we pack.
Beat.
That's a yes. I can tell you don't make female friends easily.
I have female friends.
Do you have a going away party planned?
No, they wanted to go to a club, and I'm obviously not a club girl.
No, you're not. You're more like a His Girl Friday.
We celebrated last week at lunch, but my ex Ben came.
Why?
I don't know. We broke up because I'm moving. And
You're still in love with him.
Maybe he's the type of guy that you go funny in your pants just sitting next to him, and then you have to change your underwear, but you're already out. So you put a napkin in it, and people hear the crinkling, or it falls out of your skirt when you stand up. It's a lot.
I don't have that effect on women, but I promise I grow on everyone.
Fine, you can help me pack already. I need someone to gather all the small stuff in my apartment.
You know what they say about small men?
No,
I don't either.
You don't laugh as easy. Oh, that's you.
You don't laugh as easily as others. I like that.
So you do this a lot?
All the time, every day if I can. Can we walk and talk?
You want to walk and talk specifically? Weird, but okay.
So how do you feel about relationships?
Well, my parents were married and hated each other, so I think deep down all relationships need a degree of hate. It's part of the magic sauce.
My father had a secret family in the same building, and we never knew.
It sounds like your mother didn't want to know.
I find it so interesting that you commented about my mother before my dad.
Why?
I just do.
I hate when people walk slow. It's like we're trapped on the sidewalk, and I just want to scream, please walk like you have somewhere to be.
You're going to have a terrible time in L.A.
Maybe. I have a terrible time everywhere I go.
Me too. Can I get your number?
I don't have it yet. I have to move and call the phone company to install it. It could take weeks knowing Spectrum. They'll probably tell me that they'll show up between 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. and arrive at 10:15 p.m. Sorry, I digress. I can take down your number.
Okay, 212-333-9667.
I think this is probably you.
No,
This is me. If and when you call, don't leave long messages. I hate that. Just say your name and number.
Okay.
Interior Los Angeles apartment. Diane Keaton walks in and hits play on her answering machine.
Hey, Diane, it's your short king. How's the land of cement and cults? I heard someone say L.A. is where debris meets the sea. Funny and true. You're more like recycling, so you'd not go into the sea. Oh, I forgot. You hate long messages.
She smiles. She's falling in love.
If you would do me a favor and just go open your front door.
She looks around confused. She opens the front door, and Woody Allen is on a phone that is attached to a house next door. She laughs. He awkwardly hangs up and hands it back to some weird neighbor.
Want to go for a walk and talk?
I thought you'd never ask.
Exterior LA street. Woody and Diane walking on an empty sidewalk in LA. Cars driving by fast, and one swerves and hits Woody. He falls, and Diane runs to his side. The driver gets out. I'm so sorry. I didn't see you there. I only see people who are 5'5" and above in my mirrors.
See, I told you. Nobody walks in L.A. That's great.
That's it.
It was so good. I made a choice not to be nebbish.
Thank
I liked
you.
it.
I'll add it. I have a filter.
Yes. All of a sudden, people are like, excuse me.
I want to talk about it. We're really quick. Going to just take a break. We'll be right back. Okay, I was as annoyed by him as I was watching the movie.
Yes.
You even did the scene where he would be doing the phone call while he's in Los Angeles and having this neighbor's phone. He does sort of some of those like break reality things.
Great.
That's like a gag to be a gag type of thing.
I remember none of this.
Annie Hall. What do I remember about Annie Hall? The actual plot.
Everybody's wearing brown.
Diane Keaton is quirky.
Yeah.
And I think she won an Oscar for this movie.
She did?
I think this movie might have won Best Picture. I have a computer in front of me. I just hate
using it.
I like thinking about if I know something or not, but every time I do, I'm wrong.
I think she did as well.
No way.
Definitely
I don't
Oscar
buy this.
associated with this. I
No
bet it was
way.
nominated for Best Picture.
No.
It might
I
have
think
even
it might have
won.
won Best
No.
Picture.
Yeah,
I think this
think it
beat
did
Star
too.
Wars for
No.
Best Picture.
No.
If I'm remembering properly, I don't know if this 32
Fakeness.
wins, won 4 Oscars.
No,
Yeah.
stop it.
Wow, it said it
Screenplay?
won an Oscar last year for a movie that aged the best. I didn't even know they gave those out. Winner for Best
joking.
Picture, winner for Best Actress, winner for Best Director
Yeah.
for Woody
Really?
Allen, winner for Best
Yeah, I knew
Screenplay
that.
as well.
I'm gobsmacked. What is this
Well, to
movie
be fair,
about?
you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Let's see.
hate it
It beat
so
Star Wars. It beat Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
What a great movie.
These were the 50th
Classic.
and 50th Oscars.
I mean, I liked that it beat
Annie
Star
Hall
Wars.
beat The Goodbye Girl, Julia, Star Wars, The Turning Point. Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, also nominated for Best Directors for Close Encounters and for Star Wars. And Woody Allen lost to Richard Dreyfuss for Best Actor. That feels good.
That feels great. What did Richard Dreyfuss win for?
The
Close
Goodbye
Encounters.
Girl.
Oh.
Okay.
There we go. John Travolta was actually nominated for Saturday Night Fever as well for Best Actor.
No kidding.
Oh,
Which
good.
is
Good
just,
for him.
but yeah, this is so funny that it feels like all big blockbusters, especially through like the 80s, would be nominated and lose Best Picture type of thing. But like Star Wars, big Jaws, but like these huge movies, and you're like, hey, he lost to Annie Hall. What do I remember? I think you nailed the tone. There was just not quite enough him talking over her,
Yeah, probably.
but there was a sufficient amount of him writing off her beliefs as naive. Mm-hmm. I do remember Diane Keaton being very good. Jake, have you seen Annie Hall?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was a lot of him telling her the way of the world, right?
a lot of that
I
sort of
feel
stuff.
like,
Him
yeah.
explaining why LA is bad might have actually happened in the movie. I don't remember. It's definitely happened in a Woody Allen movie
Yeah, I
at
feel
some
like
point.
that's like a vibe that comes up at some point.
And they cook lobster. That's the famous scene from Annie Hall. Is them just chasing lobsters around a kitchen.
Oh my God.
She is sort of
That's what they said.
quirky and very like. I always saw like Zooey Deschanel characters being sort of like in the mold of what Diane Keaton was doing in like this movie and just being like sort of like the scarf is huge or something like that. But Diane Keaton is good, and I don't remember. I don't think they end up together. I think it's sort of like a recap of why they broke up. Like it starts in flashback or something, and it's like we really didn't need 2 hours to find out why you broke up. You're the worst. You're like horrible back then to even be around. But yeah, Best Picture.
Wow, I'm shocked.
Oh,
Again,
thanks.
I haven't seen it, but I'm still shocked.
Do you think people regard this movie as funny,
That it is
or
very,
they feel smart because they like it?
It's sort
Which
of.
I'm not saying is necessarily a bad
That's
thing.
a good Woody Allen tone question because I think a lot of people think he's funny.
I remember there being some
I
funny
did
parts,
disagree.
but I don't remember what any of them were specifically. But I remember laughing. I remember really liking it. But I don't know if I liked it because it was a movie where people talked a lot and I was in college.
Sure.
Like if
Yeah.
you're in like a film class, and I hadn't seen anything. I still haven't seen most things, but I'd seen nothing. And I was in a class. I'm like, holy shit. First off, you're finding out older movies can be good. And you're just like, I hadn't seen any of this stuff. I was like watching 2001 and being like, this is crazy they made this. And watch it. You're just blown away that it exists.
I think for better or worse too, and in this case, I think time has maybe made things feel worse. I do really enjoy seeing a filmmaker's like complete point of view. Do you know what I'm saying? Like this is in the same ilk of Quentin Tarantino. This is the same ilk of like Kevin Smith, of where like the director and sometimes also star has completely imbued
I
like them into that.
Yeah.
And I think as like creators and especially comics, someone saying like, no, it's just everything you want to say is so attractive.
This is so I think he does, if I remember enough, it's sort of like, well, he very clearly also hates himself so much, but he's still like, this is everything I believe, even if I know I'm wrong type of. I am.
And he was a stand-up.
Yeah, and he was
He
a stand-up.
was?
He was
Yeah,
like a very
very,
famous stand-up.
Wow, I'm being just thrown all over the place.
I think that's how he met his daughter. And
Oh God, dark.
When he taught her to stand up.
you haven't seen How I Met Your Daughter?
Different vibe.
How I Met Your Mother's Kid is just his television show.
But yeah, he was on like the show of shows, right?
He was
And-
just
and
everything. He was just popular and made and then I do remember seeing this in a film class and then wanting to watch his other things and being like, why do you get to make so many? Because they're all almost the same.
Yeah, they're all almost the
I
same.
remember-
They can't
go ahead,
cost that
sorry.
much.
I think that's
Also part of it. Like nothing's happening. I mean, things are happening emotionally, but
Right.
it's not like they're
It's
not
like
big set
location
pieces.
fees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember liking, is it Small Time Crooks? Where this is actually a really funny premise. These group of people decide they want to rob a bank. And this is a Woody Allen movie, I think came out in the early 90s. They want to rob a bank. And so
2000.
2000. And so they rent a business next to the bank. And their front is that they're selling like cookies or cupcakes. And the business takes off wildly larger than they can keep up with while they're trying to dig a tunnel into this bank.
That's
but they
so
keep
funny.
fighting over like, we need people to come up here and man the counter. But other people are like, we're down here trying to dig
Yeah.
the tunnel.
So the
and the
front-
line
yeah.
is like around the block for people who want these fucking cupcakes
love
that they
that.
don't even
Right.
want to be selling.
Like if a mattress store was just so busy you actually had to sell mattresses.
yes. Yeah.
That's a great premise.
Yeah.
Yeah, him, Tracy Ullman, Hugh Grant, John Lovitz.
I remember enjoying it
I've
quite a
never
bit.
seen any. Here's also something. I've never seen any Woody Allen movie. Not one.
I mean,
think
that's
you're
fine.
okay.
Yeah. I can't think of any that I've ever like. There are a lot of, if you really just, because I would go rent from the video store in my college town, whatever ones of his, and like Vicky Cristina Barcelona came out then. And you just rent them all and you're like, how many times can he be 30 years older than the girl he's dating in the movie? And then you're like, oh, a lot. It's a real write what you know situation.
I think the last one I saw was Match
I
Point.
loved Midnight in Paris, actually.
Yes, I did too.
Never saw it.
That one.
Match
that one-
Point with Scarlett Johansson.
Match Point, I
yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
Midnight in Paris is like a fantastical. Owen Wilson.
It is quite good.
Sort of traveling
Charming,
through
very
time.
charming.
It's like, oh my god, it's like
Interesting.
oozing.
And at this point,
charm.
he's not in it at all, right?
No.
That's
Right.
a smart move.
Yeah.
Yeah. Manhattan is the one that ages very poorly.
I've
where
never
he, like,
seen
has
Manhattan.
an underage girlfriend that he's
Oh,
trying to
yeah.
figure out how to
I've heard
be
about that
around
one.
and stuff. And you're like, this is weird.
I guess just never really wanted to see like wealthy New Yorkers.
The city is the character.
Like I never watched The Girls either. I just never really wanted to see like wealthy New York people like doing their
Yeah, I
thing.
couldn't get into girls.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, I got it. I don't need that.
But what I do like is old, like 70s and 60s New York films where I feel like I'm watching a time capsule.
Yes.
Like 3 Days of the Condor, the Sidney Pollack movie with Robert Redford, is such a like New York, DC time capsule.
I just like movies that are hyper their location.
Crocodile Dundee.
For sure.
Yeah.
100%.
New York.
100%.
That subway
Yeah.
scene?
Yes.
Yeah.
Classic.
Didn't that remember what was the Jungle to Jungle? I was like, wasn't there a non-him version of the same movie, and it was Tim Allen? Was it
Really?
Tim Allen?
Really?
Jungle to
Oh,
Jungle?
and he's going like this,
And he has,
parting
like,
the
he finds out
buildings.
he has a kid that's
Or
from
is
like
that
the
Dundee?
jungle or something. You're
Oh, I don't
thinking of
remember
Moses.
No.
I just googled Tim Allen. Great, there goes all my purple links. Yeah, he's Tim Allen in this one.
Oh, is that
finds
what
out
the kid?
he has a kid from the Amazon who then he has to bring to New York. So it's like another
Yeah,
thing.
okay.
And
Wow. They really liked him having a kid and like raising it as like a promise.
Promise.
well, probably his
Like,
own
the
kids didn't
premise,
talk
like,
to
that
him
was it.
probably.
Like, let's continue with that.
Saw him at Patty's once.
Gosh, what were we getting into? I don't even remember. That's okay.
Woody Allen.
Woody
Oh, and then,
Allen.
yeah, and
New
then
York
time
70,
capsule.
yeah,
and all
Oh,
that
no.
stuff.
I mean, I do like a time capsule New York movie. Like, I actually really love, which I don't think anyone probably saw it or loved it, was 200 Cigarettes.
I've never seen that.
It's fun. I don't know why.
Is that all in the diner?
It all takes place in one night.
Okay.
I love I love stuff
New
like
York.
that. In really any city, you can get me into it if like the city is hyper
Yes.
involved in
Yes.
what is going on, because I love Los Angeles. Collateral is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh, my
like
God.
a
Oh, that's a good
hyper
one.
Los Angeles
Yes, Heat.
movie.
Yeah.
I love it. Heat is so good. I
Yeah.
just saw it for the first time like a couple of years ago.
Really?
And you're like, oh, it's pretty good.
Speed is like my
Speed.
favorite Los Angeles
I
movie.
really, really love
What a classic.
location, even like LA Confidential, Mulholland
Yeah. Oh,
Drive,
God, yeah.
like
Yeah.
stuff where it's like it is more fun having spent
LA
a
Story.
significant amount of time in the places, and
Yeah,
you
it
get kind
really-
of excited about
yeah.
everything.
Scorsese had one that took place in New York.
No.
And women were in it. But like there was
Martin?
there were like women in it.
Mean Streets?
No. It was like a weird one before he started. Oh God, what is it's like one of my favorite Scorsese ones because I
I've
didn't
never
really,
seen it.
What is the name?
Let me see if he has a website. Do you think Martin Scorsese legitimately has a website?
100%.
Like martinscorsese.com?
And it's probably about film
Probably.
restoration.
Jim Carrey used to have a website.
That was insane.
It was my favorite website, and I was always like, one day.
Yeah.
And then he stopped doing it.
Yeah.
It's like whoever he paid to create it, it was fucking brilliant.
I just watched a movie that was just people talking the whole time. It was Suite at the Plaza. It's
I
like a
haven't
Neil,
heard of so many of these.
Neil Simon. I believe it's called
Yeah.
Suite at the Plaza. And it was a Neil Simon play. Walter Matthau. It's 3 vignettes. Walter Matthau plays a different character in each one of them.
Oh my God, I love this. I'm going to have to see
And
this.
all of them are different
What is
scenarios,
it called?
scenes playing out in this suite at the Plaza. I think it's Suite at the Plaza.
I am so stupid.
Why?
SUITE.
That's okay.
I put sweet like
Yeah, I
tastes
get
good.
you. I don't think
Oh,
that makes you stupid at all.
I always spell things the way I hear.
Plaza Suite, Arthur Hiller, Neil Simon.
Yes. Yeah, Plaza Suite.
It's a fun little. I really
I
like
already forgot
movies
the
that
name.
seem like they could be plays.
This is
I really like that
literally
sort of
a play.
thing. I think
The
that's always
first
fun.
vignette is so fucking good, and it's just Walter Matthau and his wife on their 23rd anniversary having a very hardcore
You
conversation
could tell it's
about their
gonna
marriage.
be.
I fucking love
It's
shit
going to
like
be a
that.
well-acted movie when the headshots are still black and white
Yeah.
for all these people.
Who
You're
play?
like,
Can I look and see who plays?
Maureen Stapleton.
Yes, Maureen Stapleton plays his wife.
Yeah.
And oh my God. And you know what else? I went on a little thing when I was watching this. Sorry, this is a big sidetrack to a sidetrack. So Walter Matthau, it's 1970. I'm
Yeah.
guessing he's like 50.
Yeah.
And I thought the interesting thing about movies like this, like 1960 to like 1980, is every man who's older was definitely in World War II. And we're like, with almost, rare exception. And so we're just
You're like,
watching.
that guy's standing pretty flat-footed.
That's what I'm saying. But there's a part of me, this is morbid, but I'm like, we're just watching someone who war didn't kill.
Yeah.
And it could have been somebody else. And maybe there would have been so many movie stars that we never got to see because they didn't survive. And then this guy did. And sure enough, Walter Matthau was the fucking Battle of the Bulge. He
Was he?
yes,
Stop
yes.
it.
He left the military as staff sergeant, and I'm like, all these men. Like, you know, we look at like a picture of a 40-year-old then and we look at it now and we're like, Jesus Christ. And it's always like, well, the war and cigarettes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like they all went through like this horror.
Huge change.
Yes.
Did you see the documentary that was on Netflix about these 4 directors pre-World War II and after World War II?
Yes,
and the
I
movies
started
they
it and I
made
never
after?
finished it.
You have to finish it because all of their first movies.
Those who went or something like that.
And their first movies after World War II are really interesting how it changed their psyche and changed their filmmaking.
And it's like
After-
Capra, is it like Hawks? Billy Wilder?
Yes. Who did the famous Christmas movie? I'm so bad with names.
Capra.
Elf.
Yeah, no. It's a Wonderful Life. Frank Capra.
It's my face.
You're thinking of Will Ferrell.
That is a great one.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, I think it's Howard Hughes, Billy Wilder.
I don't think Howard Hughes.
Okay. But Frank Capra.
Yes.
I can't remember them all.
The 2 that fight. There's 2 that like don't like each other and sort of compete there.
Oh, okay.
And it's just very interesting. I'm bad with all the names, but they're movies after because
I know. I feel bad. There's so many listeners like screaming at their iPods.
They're like, come on.
Yeah, they're like,
but
why
we're
am I still
trying.
using
We're having
an
a
iPod?
conversation. This is what happens when you used to just sit at a bar and talk.
Yeah.
I've never seen It's a Wonderful Life. I've missed a lot of these movies. I know
my
who Frank
God,
Capra
you
is,
gotta
though. I actually did
see
It's
it.
a Wonderful Life on here
Wow.
for one episode.
I see it in the theater every
Do you know
year,
it bombed
every
when it first
December.
came out? So it was like the first one he wrote after World War II, and it was like his fucking heart, and it bombs, and then now it's like this huge classic.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That is the thing that we kind of talked about a bit ago of like someone getting to just do exactly what they want to do and their whole point of view. And I like when a director gets to the point where just no one's saying no to them anymore, and you can see something they make, and then you see it and you're like, that's insane. Like
Yes.
even sometimes you're like, maybe some people should say no. I remember
Yes.
watching like Babylon and being like, this is literally someone getting to make exactly like in.
And I love it, but
It's so fun.
I understand why
It's
people.
psychotic and it's
Yes.
so fun.
I've
But
never seen it.
It is because I'm like, well, La La Land is incredible and Whiplash is like a masterpiece. And
Yeah.
so now it's time for no one to say no and have no restrictions and make almost like the movie when you were a kid. You were
It's
like,
3
someday I'll
different
make this.
films.
It is.
Is it?
There.
Who is in it?
80% of the way
Everybody.
the movie, Rory becomes the main character for the last
Yeah.
like 40
And-
minutes of the
and
movie.
he's great,
you're like-
and he's such a different
great,
tone.
and it's crazy.
And then there's,
Tobey
like, parts of it
Maguire
that
is
are just-
himself it's Damien Chazelle, who did La La Land
Yeah.
and Whiplash, makes this movie
And-
Never
about
seen those either.
and First Man.
and First Man.
Never seen
Underrated.
I love First Man. I
and-
saw that in
and, like,
IMAX 70 millimeter,
kind of
and
like-
it blew my mind.
I think it was just too quiet for a space movie for people.
Yeah.
But I loved it, as well as like Ad Astra, another quiet space movie that I really liked.
I liked it too. Another Brad Pitt movie.
First Man is incredible, but this is sort of a movie about the sound being added to Hollywood, but it's like a very like Hollywood movie about that era, not an untouched topic by Hollywood movies because no one likes them more than them.
Yeah.
But it is.
But there was just such like roaring excess.
It is excess. It is so indulgent. It is so over the top. Margot Robbie looks like the happiest you've ever seen someone be. She like you see Daniel Craig in a movie where he doesn't have to be James Bond, and you're just like, he's so happy now.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's what this looks like.
Yeah.
It's like watching one of those movies where the cast all has fun, but it's costs $1 billion to make. It is so excessive and so wild and so bizarre.
And then it comes to a screeching halt with this scene between, I think, Gene Smart and Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
That is like meditative on any art and time and like your career.
I think Babylon is going to age. When you were talking about like people didn't love this, like It's a Wonderful Life, I think Babylon is going to age into. It can't be a cult movie; it's too big.
Right.
But it's like people are going to look back and be like, "I think we liked that more than we all." Whiplash is like the tightest movie anyone has ever made.
100%.
It is like
I haven't
literally
not
the
seen it.
tightest.
I'm just not really interested, I think, in what this person is making. I've not seen any of those.
That
movies you
sounds fine as
recommended.
well.
Not in a bad way. I'm just like, I mean, La La Land. Honestly, I'd rather put my head through a wall.
So interesting.
Like, get out.
I loved it so much.
Honestly, get out. Wow, we're so different.
That's
Yeah.
I love that.
I mean, no, that's great.
I mean, it really excites
like,
me.
I'm more of like a Biodome gal.
Okay.
Like
I love Biodome.
I mean, I like some artsy movies, but like singing particularly.
Yeah.
not.
Okay, but I'm going to ask you about a movie that has singing.
Okay, go.
And I'm going to go. I will not hedge my bet. I will tell you ahead of time.
Okay.
That it informs my personal feelings about someone.
Oh fuck. Okay.
Waiting for Guffman.
I probably have seen it.
Okay. So you don't hate it, but you can't say you love it.
No, I don't hate it. No, because La La Land is a musical, and that makes me want to die.
Fair.
And people who
That's how you feel about it.
Like, I just don't. There's something. It's just like a.
You're gonna love Joker too.
Nothing made me happier than that bombing. I was like, yes.
But I think that was another scenario of like, don't tell him no.
Yeah, that
Todd
was.
Phillips got to do whatever he wanted, right?
Made $2 billion for $50 making the same movie, and they're just like, do whatever you want. You're allowed to do whatever you want, and I'm happy those exist, even if they bomb, because everyone's allowed to react to that.
Sure.
The original Dune.
Yes.
I mean,
never seen it.
Oh, it's so ridiculous.
If you watch it now, you're like, did David Lynch direct Saturday Night Live?
Yes.
Like, you're like, this is chaotic.
It's
really?
So
but at the time, he was obsessed with Dune. It's a thing he loves, and no one's going to tell him no.
No. Right.
No one told him no ever.
No.
Yeah.
And when he hits, it's the greatest art of that decade.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when he doesn't, you're like, what the flying fuck is happening?
So when you
So insane.
walk up to your
I love that
your
stuff.
Criterion shelf
Yeah.
of even movies that aren't Criterion Collection.
Yeah.
What do you love to pull down?
Depends on my mood because
Sure.
I will watch. Like, I like an artsy movie. It's usually foreign if I'm gonna like it.
Okay.
And then I also just like Puff or like funny.
I
or
want
like
to
things like that.
very
So what would
quickly.
pull?
I have a game here.
Pull. Okay, go
Is
for
it called
that I
What
want to
Will
do,
Melissa
but
Pull?
it is close. It's basically for first time guests on here. It's sort of like the Newlywed Game where I'm going to ask you a question about movies you have seen.
Ooh, nice.
And then you can answer.
Okay.
Daniel,
Secondary.
you'll answer beforehand
Ooh.
what you think Mel will answer.
Oh, okay.
yes!
And then we can learn a little bit of information that way.
This feels fun.
So
If people want to bottle this, we do have a monthly show in LA where you
Yes.
can watch this dynamic on stage.
oh yeah, in like December 7th,
Fourth.
4th. What's that? A Wednesday?
Yeah, we're
Yes.
taking January off.
How did I
'cause
know that?
The first Wednesday, because you're fucking smart, dude.
Yeah.
That's the non
First Wednesday of every month.
it.
Overshare Comedy.
And okay.
Okay.
What is Mel gonna say is her favorite movie? Everyone can have more than them, so if he lands in the world, you can tell him how much credit he gets for how close he gets.
Okay.
Man. Favorite movie, and I'm going to try and go off of like stuff you've already said. I'm not joking. Mm-hmm. When this is a sincere guess.
Yes.
That I will also admit I'm not super confident in.
Okay.
Clueless.
No.
I went fluff.
Yeah.
I tried to think of something that I was like.
But like,
Great
what
movie.
holds up? Okay.
Okay. It's a
Okay.
great movie.
Would you
Okay.
put it in your inner circle?
The now to great movie is
yeah.
quite a bridge.
So let's say you could score this
So
out
you
of
could have been
5.
like, no, actually not, but I do love it.
5 o'clock is 5 points as he guesses your movie exactly. 0 is it's a movie. It's La La Land that he guessed. Where would you
So
say
5 is right.
5 is 100%
100%
correct,
right.
and 0 is he
Couldn't
said
be
La
more
La
wrong.
Land is your favorite movie even after talking to you about it? Where would you put Clueless on the 0 to 5?
2.53.
Okay.
Okay.
We're keeping
Mid.
score here, just so you know.
Yeah.
All right. What is the movie?
Wait, does she answer yet?
Oh yeah. What is your favorite movie? Or if there's a couple in the
A
ring.
couple in the range.
What would have been a 4.5 or higher on his guess scale?
It's interesting because, like, what's your favorite movie now? What's your favorite movie?
But you've already thought of one.
Yeah, something's popped in your head.
I mean, I've already said it. Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Phenomenal movie.
I think that holds up well. I'll watch that.
Big time.
What aside from do you know the other options of what Mel didn't do when Annie Hall was chosen?
No.
Okay. What do you think aside from Annie Hall? What were other movies or shows you considered doing? So now guess anything.
That she hasn't
Because
seen.
you sent like 6, I think, or something like that.
That she hasn't seen and she considered
doing for the podcast.
Okay. Hook.
I've done that on this podcast.
Of course, I've seen Hook.
Okay.
It's just like aghast is so funny.
I know. I mean, we could roll through some of the classics. The Godfather.
No, I've seen that one.
Okay.
But you're warm.
The English Patient.
Oh, that's smart, but no. I haven't seen it, but it wasn't on my list.
The Piano.
Haven't seen it, wasn't on my list.
Okay. How many more do I have to guess?
I mean, you can go until you get one if you want.
Silence of the Lambs.
I have seen that. It wasn't on my
That's
list.
another one I just watched for the first time.
Yeah?
And you're like, oh, damn, this is good. Everyone's right.
Yeah. I
Sometimes
know.
you watch one and you're like, fuck, they're really fucking right. This is incredible. Like, you're like, this is perfect.
Backdraft.
No, I don't even know what that is.
Tu Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar.
I love that movie, but no.
Fuck. All right.
Black Dog.
Okay, I'm going to give you a hint. Scorsese.
Okay. Goodfellas.
That is on the list, correct.
Casino.
Also on the list, correct.
Cape Fear.
Also on the list. I have the list pulled up.
I don't think Cape Fear isn't even Scorsese. I don't think.
No, but it's on the
But
list of
but
movies.
It is De Niro.
No, it is Scorsese.
It is. Okay. I know it's De Niro and Nick Nolte playing small. Okay, I'll go one more. Ghostbusters 2.
I've seen that.
Okay. I haven't seen any Ghostbusters.
Really?
None
So
of them.
you named a lot that I've done. on this
Ghostbusters,
podcast.
the first one, is a perfect movie.
Yeah.
It is
I would
yes.
actually say I would move Roger Rabbit out of the way for that.
Really?
I think Ghostbusters, the original, is perfect. I have the script printed out.
Take that, hot
read it
cartoon
sometimes for
lady.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, take that animation.
I love that.
We also had on here 6 Feet Under and Sopranos. Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore.
Yeah.
How could I miss?
Bringing Out the Dead, Avatar, Scarface, The Matrix.
Grey Gardens?
No, I haven't seen that.
The documentary?
Yeah.
That would be an insane thing to rewrite a documentary. I'm actually rewriting the documentary now, satire of Grey
I
Gardens.
mean, I'll be honest with you, friend. I know you've been doing this show a long time, and I love it quite a bit. Having people start doing documentaries would be
It'd be a great.
hilarious.
I want to. I think we'll do like a nice through the holidays. We'll do documentaries and stand-up specials.
so good.
I'll let you guys. I'll let anyone
that's
come on here
so
and rewrite a stand-up
good.
special they've never seen before.
Oh my God.
It won't feel like a
That
personal
would-
attack on anyone at all.
I'd love to do that.
We'll do a couple more of these. Then I want to talk about your guys' show that's coming up. Because this will be out right before it, so it'll be perfect.
Great.
All right.
Am I going to guess Daniels?
Do you want to do that? We can do. We'll alternate question by question.
Okay.
All right, Mel. Please guess what Daniel's favorite movie franchise is.
Godfather.
It's quite good.
The sort of sit back.
I've never really thought if I have a favorite franchise, but I would probably go Die Hard
Oh, wow.
That's
okay.
all right.
That
So-
makes sense.
or
yeah.
Rocky. Yeah.
Both great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Both great. All right, Daniel. Please guess who Mel's favorite actor or actress is, and whether or not his mom owned the Comedy Store.
Who was Zero's mom? Is it Pauly Shore?
No, that's not my favorite. I mean, I did love it. I mean,
you
love
went-
I like
Biodome.
Biodome is great,
Yeah.
and Encino Man is legitimately.
Oh.
I'm like, this is a great movie.
I love
I love
Encino Man.
Encino
Son-in-law
Man
has
so
its
much.
moments.
Yes, 100. But no, not my favorite.
Favorite actor, huh?
Actor or actress?
Man, that's good.
That's yeah.
I'll just stick with Bob Hoskins.
Oh, that's great. Not my favorite.
Sure.
Sandra Bullock is my favorite actress. I love her.
Oh,
I'll see her in anything.
I was just in a big conversation about Gravity the other day.
Yeah.
Oh, that movie is terrifying.
Is
Yeah.
it a theaters only movie?
At least a big TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you gotta be able to have it loud and have it.
Yeah.
I can't watch it again. I
Yeah.
can't do it.
I
It
never
is so
saw it,
stressful.
and
I
it
can't
always
watch it.
felt like I thought they would throw it back in IMAX at some point, and they never did.
I bet they will.
Yeah.
We'll get more to like a bigger
It
anniversary.
just
on it.
feels right 10th anniversary or something like
Yeah.
that.
Open up that arc.
I don't think I could ever watch Uncut Gems again.
I watched
I
Uncut
had
Gems
3
with
panic
my
attacks.
fucking
Oh, really?
mom.
I haven't seen that.
It is.
I should watch
You
that.
will have
Okay.
to like, if you have the ability, which I assume you will, you won't see it in the theater. You'll pause it and go. I just gotta like. Oops,
gotta
I dropped
take a
my phone.
minute.
I
I have
went-
to like
yeah.
walk around for a little bit.
I know I've talked about this but I went and saw it with my mom in Kansas City 'cause it came out on Christmas or the week before Christmas, and I was home
Oh.
for the holidays.
That's not really-
And everyone's like, "You got to see Adam Sandler, so good." And it's Adam Sandler, so good. And I love Adam Sandler.
Yeah,
I
I
go
love him.
see this movie. it's in Kansas City to see Uncut Gems. You have to go to the one AMC that has the artistic movie theater.
Yeah.
That has the big giant seats, And so we go to that one, and I'm sweating so bad at the end of the movie. Like I'm like stuck to the chair from how stressed I was. And then it turns out my seat heater was on the entire movie. And I just sweat.
That's amazing.
It's so stressful. So I was probably sweating. It's even more so. Good Times is stressful. The Safdie brothers movie. With Robert Pattinson
Good Times
is like our next March Madness bracket we're going to do on this podcast is going to be great movies you won't watch again. And
it's a great list.
That's a
things like Requiem, which I'm like, this is incredible.
Never. Yes. I watched that.
The Pianist, which is like a wonderful movie. I'm not
Schindler's List.
Yeah,
White Oleander.
But there'll be a section that's
White
like
Oleander.
there might be like a whole like Holocaust. That'll be like the East region.
Make them fight it out.
And then otherwise, I mean, it'll just take the whole thing. But there'll be like a Safdie brothers feeling
Big
type
time.
of movie because that doesn't feel like the same stakes, but you do feel as stressed out.
Yeah.
What is the best movie?
You know what? I would never watch again. I think it was United '93.
Oh yeah.
I was like, that's good. I don't need it. I can.
Paul Greengrass.
And they made that all up. I'm sorry.
I paused for a second. I was like, okay, I'm original.
Didn't they improvise that? Wasn't that Christopher Guest?
That'd be wild.
Took me out when Eugene Levy had the box cutters.
How do I?
Those honestly it came out it was like 2004 or 5, and they're like, we're rolling some 9/11 movies out, and it's still smoking.
Yeah.
It's a little soon. You should have that as a question. This is not really a segue of like what movie you don't want to watch with your parents.
Yeah, worst movie to watch.
Worst movie because that always happens during the holidays, which are coming up.
Yeah.
Like what are the safe
And a
zones?
sexual answer is too easy. It has to be something that you're like, this is too intense.
Yeah, like there's
because Requiem for a Dream obviously has the insane sex part, but overall it's the whole movie that makes me not want to watch it again or with my.
To me, the part that I find the most uncomfortable about Requiem for a Dream, honestly not uncomfortable, but that upsets me the most is pill addiction.
Yes.
Uppers.
Yes.
And the performance is so good
Oh my God,
that you're just
Shirley
like,
MacLaine?
you're so upset and you're so sad for her, and it's just like so exploitative and like
When the system, how the system sucks her in.
I watched Requiem for the first time while I was doing heroin. For the first time.
Mel. How'd you feel at the end of that?
scene.
I was like I remember screaming at my friends to dance and then also crying.
Really?
And I just remember being like, there's like some images that would come up because I was also like, it was the first time I did heroin. So I was like, there was just like so much happening.
And at this, I'm not being flippant. Was this a deliberate sort of like Dark Side of the Moon, Wizard of Oz thing where you were like, let's do heroin and watch this, and that's what we're doing tonight?
Well, at the time, it was like everyone was like, this is an amazing movie. And I was in high school, and I was like, okay, yeah, well, let's watch a cool movie
about drugs and do drugs,
and like, like let's do it. And then I was like, what's happening? And then I sort of had a little bit of a meltdown for like 3 days.
But like watching Shirley MacLaine, like get her life decimated and who she is as a person, and then also like being
is it
sober.
Shirley MacLaine?
I believe so.
I don't think
I'm sorry if I'm wrong. But
Ellen Burstyn.
That's what it is. I always get those two mixed up. Ellen Burstyn. Sorry. Apologies, yelling listener.
It's Christopher McDonald, I think.
But like watching that sober and being like, Jesus Christ, and then watching the ass to ass scene and being sober.
That stuff was fucking tough.
I imagine being on drugs and watching that de-evolution of a person's soul.
I was just like, and I just remember like,
because you can do ass to ass for fun. Don't get me wrong, but she's doing it as a complete rock bottom of her life.
Yeah, for me it was sort of like, maybe it was like, here's what's to come. I don't know. That wasn't the last time.
When it finished, I finished that movie being like, that might be the greatest anti-drug campaign I've ever seen.
I threw up on myself.
Did you feel that way at the end of it? Like, ugh.
I just remember sitting on this couch. It was like a velvet plaid couch and wood paneling being around me and the end of the movie. And I was just like, this is death, maybe.
Wow.
So it sounds like you might have been right.
Yeah. That's gonna go deep in the bracket.
It's probably I think it will as well. It's got one seed written all over the eyeball on the DVD cover. It's no better transition to talk about Overshare, and then we can get out of here.
Why not? That's what we're doing right
December
now.
4, 12/4, doing
Yes.
Overshare. Tell everyone about the show. Tell them where it is.
So it's the first Wednesday of every month.
Yes.
Yep.
January will be off because the first Wednesday is the first of the year. But
I
it's
think it's because it's January 6th, and I have plans.
I'll be at a vigil for heroes.
You show up as a Confederate soldier to the reenactment of January 6th. Like, talk about winning twice.
Yes.
It's Overshare Comedy. Mel started this show in June.
Yep.
I came on board, and now we do it at Bespoke LA. And people who come into the show, they write down an overshare of their life. It doesn't have to necessarily be a secret. It could just be something that if you told at a dinner table, people would be like, okay.
Yeah.
And then you get a free drink when you do that. And comics start their set by reading an overshare. And they may spend their whole set going off on your overshare, or they may just make a couple jokes and then go into their set or go into some comedy of their own life that it makes them think about. But it's a really, really, really fun show.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful that
Bespoke.
Mel brought me on.
BESPOKE.
I think it's BS, or was it BE?
No, it's B. Sorry, yeah. BSPOKE.
Yeah, Bespoke. LA. It's
Right
super
next
fun.
to Cantor's Deli.
Yeah, in the old Supreme shoe store space. It's like cool.
Aren't we all?
It's, yeah.
Yeah.
Everything at one point was the old Supreme shoe store space.
Yeah.
Especially on Fairfax.
Yeah. Fucking
Awesome.
Fairfax.
Yeah, it's got, we always have great comics. We've, all of us in this room, but as it pertains to Mel and I, have been doing comedy for so long and have so many great friends who can do just such amazing sets that we bring them out. And comics love to start out their set by learning a little bit about someone or everyone in the audience.
Yeah, but I feel like it gives that sort of like, this is why you go see live comedy. Like,
I love shows that are set up to be, you're at that show and it is only that night, and because you're at that, you're seeing the thing that is at that.
Yeah.
I'm very much about that, even though that seems to be the antithesis of what it currently is, which now it is currently like, how can I best capture a vertical video? But I am just like, I want everyone who makes it out to see a thing live to experience something that is different if you weren't at it live.
Right. And for me too, as a comic, it's fun because, I dropped my special in April, so I'm building my new hour. So having a show or shows that put me in a place to talk about something I haven't said yet or a topic that I haven't thought about is great from the, like, our side of things.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, maybe I will talk about whatever.
Right. You can see you're mining something for funny that you probably wouldn't have just gone out of your way to do on your own.
Right.
Yeah, and you get to see it because, like, I'm also working on my next hour, and it's kind of nice to, like, give comics that freedom to, like, have that experience. And I also think it's cool for the audience. So you're kind of, like, in this experience together, and it only happens here. And it's like, I think that's the beauty, and I hope is what starts happening with, like, live shows again, of people, like, leaving their house.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Will you do the show?
Sure.
We'll have you on it. We'll book you on it.
Fun.
I literally have nothing to do ever again starting last week.
Stop.
No, I had this.
Yeah.
No.
And other future opportunities that are
whenever.
going to come about.
Yeah, they'll come about.
Yeah.
I'm very free, and I like being.
And we're on a good biannual hang.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll have that too.
Well, thank you guys for listening. Actually, it'll be too late to sign up for the Secret Santa if you're listening to this. So everyone have a wonderful day.
I've never seen it.